guys, and welcome to Faith Works Designs. I am Faith, and today I have another really exciting sew for you because it's Doctor Who. I don't know about you guys, but I have loved Doctor Who since my kids introduced me to it a couple of years ago when they were little. Matt Smith is my doctor. Who's your doctor? Leave it in the comment section down below. We have got the Tardis, and it is the blueprint instructions on our Tardis, and I just think this is the cutest thing in the world because we made it look like a book, because that's what we do around here. And so you've got the blueprints for your Tardis, and on the back I geeked out when I saw them. When Kim showed me, I was just like, those are cute, I need one for my bag. It's allons-y. I hope you guys can see that, but the first thing I said was allons-y, allons-y. Okay, can you tell I'm really into this? Alright. They have some of the best hardware for this. It makes me so excited. So, you have got your little Tardis strap connectors. This one, again, I was trying to do a little bit differently with our D-ring connectors because, again, I know a lot of you guys are working on domestics. So I'm trying really hard to keep that in mind and trying to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So we do use a rivet to connect our invisible D-ring strap. Let's see what else. So we also have a double magnetic snap. So when you open it up, you've got this really cool galaxy print that also matches our really cool webbing. If you guys haven't checked out the hardware / webbing section at K&A, you really should, because they've got some really cute stuff. And the webbing is really nice to work with too. Alright, so let me make sure I'm not putting this upside down. So you have the Tardis schematics, and I'll put another picture here. But you've got all of that there. On the inside, we could not squeeze a zipper pocket again, but I'm going to show you guys in the video today how to do a zipper pocket. I have been fighting for zipper pockets. There's only so much we can put on a panel, but we've got really cute Tardis zipper pulls. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a zipper pocket on the inside. On the other side, it's plain, but you could buy some of the coordinating fabric that goes along with it and make slip pockets or whatever you want. So, let's get started. I am so excited for this one. Alright, so when you get your panel, it's going to be all rolled up like this, and what comes in your panel is your pattern for your bag. You will get an outer panel that'll have all of your outer fabrics, and then you'll have a lining panel with all of your lining fabrics. I just realized that we do not have a zipper pocket in this one. However, I will be showing you today how to make a zipper pocket, and then we'll see if I can talk Alex into putting one on the panel. Alright, so with that's what all you get when you purchase a panel. You do have to purchase a few things separately, so let's go over that. Alright, so you're going to need some sort of webbing, and they have this really cool webbing that matches the inside lining, and I really like that. I believe they sell these in the 3-yard amounts, but you're only going to need 60 inches if you make a purse. If you're going to be making a purse, you just need 1 strap adjuster and 2 of your swivel clasps. You either need 2 D-rings, or you can splurge on these really cool Doctor Who strap connectors, and the weight of these things is really nice. I love their strap connectors. They're nice and heavy. They make me feel like they're not going to break. Because we are going to be putting our own in there, maybe possibly getting another panel, you're going to need at least 1 zipper pull. And then to make it interesting, Kim and Alex are selling these allons-y, allons-y. Well, it just says allons-y, but if you get it, you get it. It's one of the bag tags that's going to go on the back of our bag. It has the little stems. We have a washer to go with it, and then I'll show you guys how to put those together. You're also going to need 2 magnetic snaps. So that is all the hardware that you need. So let's talk panels. When you cut out your panel, you're just going to be cutting right where the white meets the blue and cutting all the way around. When I cut this out, I will give you guys all of the measurements for everything just to make sure that you're right where you need to be. Because sometimes stuff happens. But for the inside lining, you are going to need to take your outside fabric, whatever it is, and use that as a template to cut out your lining fabric. Today I'm using pebble vinyl for the outside, and I'm using cotton lining for the inside. So I'm going to take this to the ironing board. I'm also going to be taking, I have Pellon 950F, and I've been meaning to do this in the videos, but I take this and I lay this out, and then I put my lining panel on top of it, and then I just adhere my lining and my interfacing all in one shot. It just makes it so much easier to work with if you just have one thing to work with. Instead of cutting out each piece and then cutting out each piece of your interfacing, I just iron them together. So I'm going to go do that, and then we will cut out our main bag, and I will share with you guys all of the measurements. Alright, piece measurements. You have got 2 of your D-ring connectors that are going to be 2 by 4.5. Your front and back panel are going to measure 7.5 tall by 10.5 wide. Your front flap is going to measure 10.5 by 10.5. Your bottom gusset is going to measure 3 inches wide by 23 3/4. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our flap lining piece, and we're going to turn it over and try and match it up onto your mat. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a small ruler, and I'm going to measure in 2 inches and up 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to, for now, we're just going to make a little dot so we know where to put our magnetic snap washer. So 2 inches in, 1.5 up. Okay. Then take your washer and place it down like that. And then on the other side, do the same thing. Make your little marks. Then I'm going to grab, I've got my female ends for this side. I don't know why. I like the female ends on my flaps. But if you'd rather do the male ends, that's fine. It's really not that big a deal. Cut them open, and then I'm going to grab a piece of one-sided interfacing. Alright, so I am just going to cut out just enough so that there's something behind it. I'm going to take my washer. I'm going to also make those marks. Take my seam ripper and open those up. Now, put one of these through your main panel, through your lining panel. We're going to put a piece of our one-sided interfacing, and then we're going to put our washer. And I push this down, grab my pliers, and push those legs apart. Just like that. Alright, so you should have your magnetic snaps. Next thing we're going to do, where to go, is we're going to grab our main front panel. We're going to put them right sides together, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip all the way around, and then we'll go to the sewing machine. What we're going to do is we're going to stitch around these 3 sides and leave this open so that we can turn it inside out. Alright, I have got a 3-stitch length. We're going to be doing a quarter of an inch seam allowance, quarter of a something. Alright, I went back around, and I like to double stitch mine. I'll stitch a quarter of an inch, and then I'll stitch right beside it. And then I'm going to take my pinking shears and just kind of go around the roundy bits, just to make sure that when the round parts go inside out, that hopefully they'll lay nice and flat. Alright, now we're going to turn this inside out. We're going to make sure that you got your corners out all good. And then I'm going to kind of press down the edges. You're going to sew 1/8 of an inch all, go ahead all the way around. I'm going to change my stitch length to a 4. You could not see what I was doing. Alright, so 1/8 of an inch, we're just going to go all the way around. Alright, so we put the flap away for just a second. I have got the strap connector. What I did was I grabbed a piece of Decovil Light that was 3/4 by the length of my D-ring connector. Then I drew a line down the center and I added some double-sided tape. Next thing you're going to do is you're just going to fold this over. You guys, we have done this about 1,000,000 times. Fold it over into the center, and then about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, we're going to go ahead and sew down both sides with a 4 stitch length. Alright, now that we're done with our strap connectors, we are going to be making an invisible D-ring connector because I wanted you guys to be able to not have your D-ring up in here and making it a little bit harder for those of you guys that have domestics to be able to actually sew these, because this really does add a lot of thickness when you're trying to turn something inside out and then having to top stitch it. It's thick. So we're going to do that. So down here at the other end, I am going to measure in, let's do this on the other side. I am going to measure in 1.5 inches, and then I am going to make sure that my ruler is centered so that I have an inch mark right in the center. So between the 3 and the 4. Alright. Then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to open that up. Then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take my D-ring connector just like this with the open side face up, and I'm going to stick it in. I'm going to measure that 1 inch. I want to make sure that I've got at least 1 inch of a tail. You can have it a little bit longer. It is not going to be the end of the world. Then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew on this connector. We're not going to start over here. We're not going to end over here. All of the stitch line that we're doing is on this connector alone, not on our outer panel, because that will show up when we go to flip this down. Any seams that you make over here or over here are going to show up. So let's go to the sewing machine, sew this down, and then I'll show you what else we do. Alright, so I am going to do my best. It's really hard with this foot to be able to see where I'm at. So if you wanted to, you could take and turn it down. Okay, perfect. Make sure that it's straight, because that'll be helpful. Alright, so I'm going to go up a couple of stitches, back a couple of stitches. I'm going to scooch that. Now go back a couple of stitches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my threads through the other side so you won't see any of them. But that's what it should look like. So not outside of your D-ring on either side, but just on that D-ring connector. Alright, now that we've got this sewn into place, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our strap connector. We're going to slide that on, and then slide it on just like that, and then we're going to stick it back down into that hole. And you can do one of two things. You can match up these bottoms right here and have that hanging out if you like that better. I feel like it looks a lot nicer when you kind of pull it. Just make sure that both ends are even. So you're going to pull it like that so that you have these back here. It's going to be really nice. The back of your D-ring connectors are going to be a really nice anchor for this D-ring on your bag. So I'm going to take right in the center, about 1/4 of an inch below my little line here, I'm going to make a hole. Alright, so it'll look like that. I'm going to grab a rivet, put it in there like that, and see all of that extra D-ring connectors. It's going to be a nice little anchor for my rivet. Okay, so let me change my things out. Alright, now I'm just going to smash it down. Now, this is what your bottom gusset is going to look like. Let's grab the front panel. Alright, so now we need to work on our front panel. It's got the doctor's desktop theme. I think that's really cool. Alright, so we're going to grab our other two magnetic snaps, our male ends. We're going to grab our one-sided interfacing. I've already prepped that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little ruler and my pen. And we're going to measure 1.5 up, 2 over. Let me put this on my desk better. So 1.5 up, 2 over. Put it right there. And right there. Alright, now we're going to take our washers and put them on top of the little dots that we just made. Take our seam ripper. Alright, now that we've got the holes open, we can take these and put them on the right side. Put your one-sided interfacing, your washer, and then pliers, and get these down. Alright, now that we've got our washers on, the next thing that we need to do is fold this in half and find the center of our bottom. We're going to start connecting our gusset. So let me move the camera up so we can all see what's going on, and then we'll do that. So I got my bottom panel with my magnets on. I have got my bottom gusset ready to go. I went ahead and put center marks in my bottom gusset. I've got a bunch of clips, and I've got my little snips, because we are going to snip into our gusset as we go around these corners, just so that they lay just a little bit flatter. So we're gonna start at the top. I'm gonna make a few clips down the side, and then when I get towards the bottom, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna match up my center notch in the bottom of my gusset and the front part. I'm gonna come back up to the top and start clipping those together. Alright, now in our seam allowance, we're going to be using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. It's about 1/8 of an inch. You can start making these clips around this round corner, and that is going to help our gusset lay nice and flat. No budging, bulging stuff around our edges. So it lays nice and flat like that. So do that on both sides, and then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Alright, now I've got my stitch length at 3. We're going to go a 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I also changed out my thread to something a little lighter, just in case any thread puckering or anything like that happened. I didn't want the blue to be like a sore thumb staring at you, because both of these fabrics are so light. So alright, I almost forgot something. So we have our LZ little tag that's going to go on the back of our purse. So you can literally put this wherever you want, honestly to goodness. But what we're going to do is I took the legs and pushed them up. I put them against my washer. This is how I normally figure out where things go and where to be able to mark my washer. So I know 2 of these little stems in, the 3rd one, that's where I want to put my mark. I am going to measure up 2 inches, and I've found my center and made a clip. I'm going to find the center of my washer. There we go. I am going to find my marking tool. Alright, so I know on the 3rd one is where I need to mark. I'm going to just open those up just a little bit. You don't want to go any further than the mark that you made. And make sure that Allen Z is facing the right way. Flip it over. Put your washer on. You can get some tape and put it on top of that so it doesn't rub against your lining. The rest of the video, putting the outside together, you're not going to see this on there because I forgot about it. So don't forget to put your Allen Z on there if you already have. And now I'm going to go put the other one on my other bag that I already finished. So let's go to the next step. Alright, so we're all sewn up. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our back panel. Fold that in half. Find the center. Then we're going to match up our centers and our sides. Making sure that you guys clip on the roundy bits so that it will lay nice and flat. Alright, while we're at the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and grab the front flap. What I'm going to do is insert it. You might have to like kind of fold it in half because it's longer than it is taller, right? So fold it in half, put right sides to right side, and center your flap. You could have made a center mark if you wanted to. It's up to you. I'm going to clip all the way across, and then what I'm going to do is 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to go ahead and base stitch this in place so that when I put my lining in, it'll already kind of be attached and won't be in my way when I go to do the next step. For seam allowance, for stitch length. So I have got 1 piece of our lining fabric. I went and found another non-matching, however, theme-inspired piece of fabric. It is 9.5 inches long by 6.5 inches high. I'm going to center it. I want the zipper kind of big because I'm going to be pulling the whole purse through it. So I'm just going to center it the way it is when I go to put the zipper on. Real quick, let's do our famous rectangle zipper spot. And we've got 1/2 inch. You should have 1/4 inch on each side since it's 9.5 inches wide. So we're going to go in 1 inch. We're going to connect those two. I'm going to go up 1/2 inch. Connecting all of those lines together. Hopefully you can see it. Now we're going to take our panel and we're going to center it. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew around my rectangle. Alright, I have got a 2.5 inch, or 2.5 seam allowance, and then I'm just going to follow along that line that I made. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, fold it in half, cut down the center. You can make a center line if you want, and then cut down. It's up to you. I stop about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch from the edge, wherever I end up, stopping. And then we're going to make our little triangle at the edge. Hopefully you can see that. I don't think I got that one close enough. Alright, now I'm going to take this to the ironing board. I was getting ready to say sewing machine. I'm going to take this to the ironing board and I'm going to put all of this through, and then I'm going to press it in place so that it'll be a lot easier to be able to put my my zipper in. So let me go do that. Alright, so we got this all ironed in place. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our zipper and our zipper tape. I've got an 8.5 inch zipper tape, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and I'm going to put it on both sides. I like to do this before I put my zipper on so that my zipper will just lay nice and flat so that I can get that on. Alright, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our zipper on. Alright, so left side first, then the right side, and then push down, and your edges right here should meet if you've done it right. Now, in most purses you're going to want to have them so that they open to the right, close to the left. Center it over top like that. Lift all of this up. Move your zipper out of the way. Pull the paper off. Put it back down. We're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew around here. Now I've got my stitch length at a 2.5. I'll go ahead and just sew all the way around. Alright, so we've got our zipper all installed. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and then right side to right side we're going to put these together. I'm going to clip around them. Alright, now we're going to turn it over. I've still got my stitch length at a 2.5, and why is this so wonky? Alright guys, I got the zipper in, zipper pocket in. We left the bottom open so that we can turn the whole purse inside out. Next thing that we're going to do is make a center notch in the bottom of our side here, and then we're going to make a center mark on both sides of our bottom gusset. We're going to do just like we did the outside of our bag. We're going to match up our notches and then match up all of our gusset. Alright, stitch length is still 2.5. We're going to start out at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're also going to want to take your zipper pocket and move it up if you haven't caught it in your clips like I have. Move it up so that it's out of the way. Towards the bottom, we're going to start kind of going inward a little bit to about a 1/2 inch when we get to the bottom. We want our bag our lining to fit really nice. Alright, now we're going to grab our other side. I made another center mark, and then we'll just clip all the way around the gusset. Alright, so we have got our lining all ready to go. We've got our outer panel all ready to go. Next thing we're going to do, I went ahead and turned this inside out. You're going to take your D-rings or your strap connectors and push them down. I'm going to take this flat, push it down, and we're going to fit all of this inside of our lining. She's going to be snug. Alright, then what you're going to do is just start matching up all the way around. Making sure that your seams are going in opposite directions. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you're kind of butterflying your seams away from each other so that you get rid of some of that bulk. Alright, I have got a 3 stitch length, and then I'm just going to sew all the way around at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. we're all attached. Next thing, if you haven't opened your zipper up yet, you probably should. This is how we're going to pull this out. So I'm going to get my flap first. Then I'm going to go back in for the bottom of my bag and pull it through my zipper opening, which I know you can't see. We're just going to pull it all out. Make sure that all of my edges are out. And then I'm going to start straightening up my lining and pushing it back down. Alright, so we have got this all clipped up. I actually took my key fob tool and I went around to like where the seams were and just kind of pressed them a little bit so that they were a little bit thinner. That way it wouldn't be such a hassle for my machine. So if you don't have one of these, even if you're not making key fobs, you should get one of these. It really does help with your seams and just kind of leveling them out. Alright, so I have got a 4-stitch length, and I made sure and I kind of pressed the back of my fabric and then my lining fabric right where this flap is so that it'll lay flat. But you can take your left hand and kind of pull the bag, and then your right hand can kind of push this fabric towards the center so that everybody goes where they're supposed to go. Hopefully, that's the idea. Alright, we're all top stitched. Next thing we need to do is close up our zipper pockets. So I'm just going to fold it over a little more than 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to grab the other side. I've changed my stitch length back to a 2.5. Alright, all you need to do is push your zipper pouch back in and your purse is all done. Alright, now we've got to make our strap. Depends on how long you want it. You can do it 55 to 60 inches. I normally do 60 inches just to make it nice and big in case somebody wants it large like that. You need your 2 swivel clasps and your strap adjuster. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our strap adjuster, and I'm going to put one end through this side and then put it right back down so that it's wrapping around there like that. I'm going to give myself about an inch and a half of space right there. I'm going to keep it going straight. Grab my other swivel clasp, put it on like that. Bring this end back through, making sure that this end right here is the end I'm bringing it through. Back down. It should look like that. And then we're going to add our last swivel clasp. Same bit of tail there, about 1.5 inches or so. I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to sew a little square around there just to kind of enclose these. Make sure that if you haven't already, make sure that you melt the ends of your webbing. Alright guys, so what did you think? I was hoping this was a nice, easy sew for you guys. We were going through the Harry Potter stuff, and it was just like, I was exhausted by the time we got done. I was like, Kim, we got to do something easy. So we took kind of the Winchester bag and we separated the flap and did a few little things, little changes with double snaps and all, just making a few changes so that it was new pattern but old. Hopefully domestic friendly and easy. Let me know in the comment section down below if you make this and your domestic can handle it. If you guys decide to add any card slots, any slip pockets or anything like that, make sure that you share them on the page. I hate that I didn't have extra fabric that I could have showed you guys how to do that, But if you check out the, I think it's the Luna Love Good bag, I'm not entirely sure, but in that bag I showed you guys how to do card slots and put the sides on so that it becomes the one panel on the side. You guys could do that. Don't let our limitations limit you. Grab some coordinating fabric with it and then just kind of go to town. Add card slots, add slip pockets, add whatever you guys want to do. Just make sure you show us on Facebook because we want to see them. I hate that I'm so limited, but it is what it is. We want to make sure that these panels are affordable for you guys so that you can have the really cool outside. And then if you want to add more to the inside because it's going to be your own personal bag, you can spend a little bit more for some coordinating fabric or something like that. But part of the reason why we have to keep the panels small is so that the price can be down, because the larger the panel, the more the cost. So Kim and Alex and I have all been trying to think of ways to make the panels smaller so that they're a little bit more affordable for you guys, because we want you guys making these. I want to see you guys making them. Also, I didn't talk much about it in the video. I do make written instructions for all of my patterns that I make. So if you ever purchase a pattern and you're not really sure, like, I don't want to have to sit and watch a video to be able to put this together, I have written instructions on the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the patterns that I have made for K&A do have written instructions. You go to my Etsy, I'll have a link for it down below. Thank you so much for joining us again on Faith Works Designs. Bye guys.